In my work with neurodiverse families and couples, in which the overwhelming primary tension is misunderstandings about the other person's neurotype, almost every conversation about neurodivergence comes down to one of two formats. The first format are conversations where one or both persons is working to confirm their own bias or assumptions. They come in with this preconceived notion of what they think the other person is doing, what's causing it, why it's annoying them, and why that person should stop. And those conversations almost always end with fights and ruptures, because those conversations are loaded with blame, anger, and an intent not to learn about their partner, but to prove a point. The second conversation that happens that go much better are conversations where one or both people seek to understand. They recognize that they've been hurt and there's something that's a problem, but as opposed to leading with, I'm hurt, you did this wrong, this is why, apologize to me. What they instead lead with is, yes, I was hurt by this, but I want to understand what caused you to do that. Why your mind would go to, that seems like a reasonable thing to do, when in my mind, it seemed completely unreasonable. And I find those conversations to be much more productive because when we seek to understand, we show vulnerability. When we seek to understand, we disarm ourselves and are ready for new information that can change our worldview. Much like the idea of Gottman's hard starts, when I'm working with neurodiverse people, I ask them to look for the signs of whether they're having a seeking to understand conversation or a seeking to prove my point conversation. Seeking to understand conversations start with phrases like, I'm curious. Can you tell me more? Can you help me understand? Seeking to prove a point conversations sound like this. I just can't believe you would do that to me. What's wrong with you? I'm questioning your intelligence and your integrity. There's a venom to seeking to prove your point conversations that just doesn't come up in seeking to understand conversations. When you start down the road of a seeking to prove your point conversation, 9 times out of 10, it's just going to make your relationship worse. You're going to end up angry, more misunderstood. Your partner's going to feel incredibly criticized and lost. And so if you can recognize that you or your partner have started a seeking to prove your point conversation, just stop it. Instead, try and come into conversations in which you're curious. Because once you have the nucleus of understanding, the gap between the two of you isn't so wide, and you're able to build a bridge with that increased understanding. What's been your experience having conflictual conversations with your neurodiverse partner? I'd love to hear from you.